Closed captioning sponsored by Camden Clark Memorial Hospital and by Superior Toyota Hyundai. Serving Parkersburg, Marietta, and the entire Mid-Ohio Valley. This is WTAP News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Green. A Meigs County man is dead tonight after police say he drove off a bridge under construction into the Ohio River last night. It's tonight's top story. Officials say 19-year-old Gerald Baker of Coolville drove off the Pomeroy-Mason Bridge at about 9:30. The bridge is under construction with barricades blocking traffic from entering. Emergency crews and divers searched the river for hours until they found the car at the bottom of the river at about 1:30 this morning. Police say Baker's body was still inside the car.
A small vehicle was seen come up on the Ohio side of the Pomeroy-Mason Bridge. It's under construction. Sat there momentarily, revved its engine, and suddenly took off.
Officials say alcohol did not play a part. Now the accident remains under investigation. In Beverly, a man crashed his car into the Muskingum River yesterday. Ohio Highway Patrol dispatcher Ari Holter says Carl Mead was turning into a driveway, failed to stop, and continued into the river. Holter says a witness pulled Mead out of the river. He is listed in serious condition at OSU Medical Center. Police say they suspect alcohol contributed to the crash. The Marietta Fire Department's dive team also responded to the scene. Marietta police also spent the evening pulling a vehicle from the Ohio River. A boy was swimming behind Kmart when he discovered a Jeep below the surface. Now that's him standing on the Jeep's top right there. Officials say they think the vehicle was stolen and deliberately put in the river.
No, it's common for criminals to ditch a vehicle in the river. It makes it difficult to locate, to recover, and aids in them getting away with the crime.
Officials were able to get the car out of the river. They say they do have a suspect in the case. Parkersburg police are looking for a suspect after spending the morning looking for a boat on the Ohio River. Parkersburg Police Sergeant Dana Miller says an unknown man stole a boat from a local rowing club. A barge captain spotted the man sailing overnight. The Parkersburg Fire Department was dispatched to find the boater at about 4 this morning, and then they later found the boat washed up on shore, but the man was gone.
The descriptions we had of the suspect is a 6-foot-tall white male with blonde hair, approximately 35 to 40 years of age. And at the time he was spotted last night, he was wearing a green shirt and shorts.
Parkersburg police and fire departments, along with several volunteer agencies, were involved with search efforts for the missing man in case he went overboard. They called the search off at 9:30 this morning. Now, if you have any information about the situation, the Parkersburg police ask you to call. A Leetart couple is facing felony charges after police responding to a domestic call found thousands of dollars in drugs. Richard and Janet Thornton are each charged with felony cultivation of marijuana and possession with intent of delivering. Mason County Sheriff's deputies were responding to the call when they smelled marijuana. Officials say they found plants worth about $20,000. Richard is being held on $30,000 bond and Janet is being held on $20,000. Another Mason County couple is under arrest on charges of animal cruelty. Authorities arrested Kevin and Kimberly Grayley of Gallipolis Ferry. These arrests come after authorities found 19 malnourished dogs on Beale Meadows Road last week. Sheriff Scott Sims says it's very obvious the dogs are victims of animal cruelty and all needed medical care. Both Kevin and Kimberly are being held in the South Central Regional Jail. On a lighter note tonight, who knew thousands of tiles and a little bit of elbow grease could bring an entire community together? Well, that's exactly what's happening in the town of St. Mary's. Lauren Hall has the story.
Tile, grout, and elbow grease, all a part of the wall that a community built.
To be honest, when we started this, we didn't know how it was going to pan out. We didn't know where the stuff was going to come from. And tile and mirror and snacks and water and food are just pouring in from the community.
But it was just kind of a vision in our head of what we thought it was going to look like. And then the children, a lot of Mary Jane students and some Boys and Girls Club members jumped in and brought that vision to life.
The vision, tiling an entire wall.
It's where you apply tile to the wall and then grout it in and do imagery using the tile. And when we saw that, we knew in our souls that this is what we wanted to put on this wall in St. Mary's. And it's amazing how everything has just fallen into place.
And they're all a part of it. Kids, teachers, and the community joining together to make a difference.
They've helped so much, and I think it just reinforces that this is such a tight-knit community and that whatever's going on, everybody wants to be there.
And it's been just overwhelming community support. There isn't a day that goes by that somebody doesn't come and contribute something. There isn't a day that goes by that somebody doesn't come by and say, wow, you guys are doing a great job. It looks awesome.
A community coming together thanks to the wall that teamwork built. In St. Mary's, Lauren Hall, WTAP News.
What an amazing project. Now, if you're interested in donating to the group, you can give them a call at the Boys and Girls Club of St. Mary's. Meanwhile, some other area teens spent the day getting acquainted with their new school. More than 100 freshmen came out for the first day of the Summer Success Program at Warren High School. It's for students to get to know each other and the school staff and get familiar with the new building. They go on a scavenger hunt and then listen to motivational speakers while they're there. School officials say it's a nice way to calm some of the freshmen''s fears.
School, it's not like where am I and who are all these people. They will have met some of their classmates they haven't known before. Some of the faculty members will be familiar to them. Certainly going through the lunch procedures and knowing the different classrooms, I think certainly will help them out.
So I could get to know the high school a little better so I'm not so confused on the first day, and just get to know some of the freshman class.
The freshmen can also attend an open house August 16th, and that's when they will get their schedule for the year. Shanasty Myers joins us now for a first look at weather. Shanasty, it was a good thing they were indoors today because it was just so steamy hot out there.
It was steamy hot, and for all of those football players, I know they started practice today. You got to make sure that you stay hydrated. Our projected high today was actually 91 degrees. We didn't reach that temperature. We only reached about 87, but still that is nothing to, I mean, that's pretty hot still. Currently we are sitting at 78 degrees, so we haven't even really cooled off that much this evening, and unfortunately I don't really think there's going to be much relief in sight for the next 7 days, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
That's not what we want to hear.
No.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Shanasty. Coming up next, new Prime Minister Gordon Brown makes a trip to America to meet with President Bush, and a woman is arrested after police find remains of several infants in her home. These stories and more are right after the break.
You're watching WTAP News at 11 with Elizabeth Green, Kirk Greenfield with the weather, and Jim Wharton with sports.
Welcome back. President Bush and Britain's new Prime Minister Gordon Brown agreed today at Camp David that their goals are the same in Iraq, but British forces are not part of the controversial Bush surge plan. Steve Handelsman has the latest from the White House.
President Bush invited Britain's new Prime Minister to Camp David.
We had a really casual and good discussion.
Gordon Brown is reserved, unlike his predecessor, Tony Blair, whose closeness to George Bush hurt Blair at home. Bush and Brown discussed global warming, Darfur, Iranian nukes, the Arab-Israeli conflict, and the jihad that's hit Britain.
Terrorism is not a cause, it is a crime.
In Iraq, Bush and Brown now have different strategies. Some British troops are withdrawing, Brown claiming success.
When you look at the 4 provinces for which we've got responsibility, we can see that we're able to move control back to the Iraqi people.
No public criticism from Mr. Bush.
Great Britain was able to transfer responsibility. That's what we want to do.
The Bush troop increase, the surge, got a boost today from former critics just back from Iraq. We just might win, concludes a New York Times op-ed by Michael O'Hanlon and Kenneth Pollock.
The U.S. and Iraqi forces are making real progress on the security side in terms of establishing security for the Iraqi people and creating space for local political and economic development, which has also made some real progress.
But Iraq's parliament adjourned today till September without solving issues like oil revenue. This weekend's all-Iraq celebration of a soccer victory cannot prevent civil war. Bush and Brown agreed they have a duty to hold Iraq together. The Prime Minister echoed the demand of President Bush that the generals, not the politicians or the public opinion polls, determine what we do next. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News at the White House.
In other news, doctors now say Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts suffered a minor seizure and fell at his summer home in Maine. Supreme Court officials say Roberts fell at his home on the Upper Island and was transported by rescue boat to the ambulance. Doctors say they will keep the Chief Justice in the hospital tonight, but there is no cause for concern. Roberts had a similar seizure in 1993. Officials returned to a home in Maryland today where they say they discovered the remains of several infants last week. Ocean City police charged Christy Freeman with first and second degree murder and manslaughter after they say they found the remains of 3 infants wrapped in trash bags inside her home Thursday. According to a medical examiner, one of the infants was stillborn. Officials say on Friday they found the remains of a 4th infant in a motorhome parked in Freeman's driveway. Police are now searching on a lot near Freeman's house. Now today, a judge denied her bail. On a lighter note this evening, an Ohio man is hoping his children will help slow down motorists on a busy street. The speed limit changes quickly from 55 to 35 along Main Street in West Salem. The problem is many people never slow down, and that puts neighborhood children at risk. Frustrated dad Mike Wood took some pictures of his children and blew them up life-size and mounted them in his yard. So far, it's worked. Motorists have slowed down, and some have even called and yelled at him for having his children so close to the street, not realizing that they were just looking at giant pictures. Wood has also added a sheriff's deputy. Now, his idea has already been posted on some law enforcement websites around the country. He's now selling the signs for $60. Sticking to Ohio roads, here's something we haven't been able to say in a long time. Ohioans have a reason to feel good about gas prices. The AAA says the state has the lowest prices in the nation, averaging about $2.67 for a gallon of regular. Compare that to the national average of $2.89. Some officials say repairs at refineries serving Ohio have helped to increase local supply and lowering prices. Well, Shanice D. Myers will let us know if lower temperatures are also in our future. That's right after the break. First, though, here's a look at tonight's winning lottery numbers. Good luck. Welcome back. Shanice D. Myers joins us now with a look at what's going on outside. Shanice, have things cooled off at all out there?
No. No, and I unfortunately do not think that things are going to cool off. We're actually in the midst of basically the next several days. It's going to be hot. I don't think for a long time we've had a forecast that's looked quite like this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current weather conditions. This is according to our Peoples Bank weather cam atop the Lafayette Hotel in downtown Marietta. Right now we are at 78 degrees. The humidity is at 70%. The winds are calm at this hour. The barometer reads 29.99 and is rising, and the visibility is at 6 miles. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our allergy alert for today and for tomorrow. We are in the low zone, but we are going to go back up to the medium zone with the temperatures that are going to keep on increasing. So let's go ahead and take a look right now at our regional temperatures. We can see that in Parkersburg we are at can we advance to the regional temperatures there? There we go. Okay, we can see that in Charleston we're at 78 degrees. Elkins we're at 68 degrees. Morgantown we're at 73 degrees. Pittsburgh's at 78, and then up the road a little bit in Columbus they're at 78, and it looks like in Mansfield they're at 67 degrees at this hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at the winds. Calm in Parkersburg, Elkins, and in Morgantown. The other winds in our region are coming from the north, except Charleston's winds seem to be coming from the south at this hour. Let's go ahead and take a look at our local radar. We did have a few pop-up showers in Wood County earlier this evening. Nothing that was caused too much concern and nothing that probably amounted to anything, and then all of that rain that they did see a little bit in St. Mary's has basically cleared out. So we're going to go ahead and zoom out here. They did see some rain down in Charleston and down in the southern portion of our state, and then they are definitely seeing a lot of rain out in the Carolinas into the eastern part of our country. We're not even really seeing much cloud coverage for right now. Now there is some severe weather down to the south of us. This high pressure system that's actually building on the Mid-Ohio Valley is keeping us dry. All of this low pressure system to the south of us is what's causing basically torrential downpours in parts of Georgia, Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. They are definitely going to be having that problem with the rain. So this is what we saw for today, this high pressure, the heat building, and then it's pushing these showers east. for today as well. We're going to go ahead and take a look. You can just see how in the dipped zone we can see all of this rain, but in our area we were just completely dry, and they are seeing those heavy rains in the Carolinas. Torrid heat for Tuesday. Unfortunately, that's the bad news, and unfortunately even more bad news is I don't really think we're going to see much of a cool down, but I will show you that in the 7-day forecast. We can just see that this is completely covering almost the central part of our country. Later this week, this heat will eventually be forced east, and it's going to be coming straight into the Mid-Ohio Valley, and we're going to have to be finding a way to beat the heat, staying hydrated, and definitely bring those pets into the home. So let's go ahead and take a look at our headlines. For tonight, mostly clear, low of 66 degrees. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot, high of 90 degrees. And then here's the real kicker right here. Taking a look at our 7-day, we can just see that we're basically in the 90s all week. Saturday, 89. Sunday 90, Monday 87, but that is really not much of a relief. Like I said earlier, Elizabeth, I don't think we've seen a 7-day forecast like that with no precipitation and temperatures in the 90s basically all week long.
I'm staying inside. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Shanaste. Coming up next, a popular diabetes drug comes under scrutiny. We'll tell you why and whether or not it will be pulled from store shelves right after the break.
When it's time to
Welcome back. Word late today from government health advisors. They are recommending the controversial diabetes drug Avandia stay on the market despite evidence of an increased risk of heart attacks. The panel said that evidence was not strong enough to warrant pulling Avandia off the market. NBC's Jennifer Johnson has the story.
Everybody except one person felt that it should stay on the market, but with a significant number of caveats.
After a day-long hearing, an FDA panel voted to keep the popular diabetes drug Avandia on the market, despite finding that the drug does increase a patient's risk of heart attack. That was the conclusion in a recent New England Journal of Medicine report.
When we put them all together, put all their 42 studies together, we found a 43% higher risk of heart attack in the patients that got rosiglitazone or Avandia compared to those that got other anti-diabetes drugs.
Nissen says last summer GlaxoSmithKline proposed putting a warning label on Avandia, but the FDA didn't think it was strong enough. Despite the final vote, one of the FDA's own doctors did suggest to the panel that the drug be removed from the market.
Any drug used for the treatment of diabetes that increases the incidence or severity of coronary heart disease in patients with diabetes is unacceptable.
The panel recommended a stronger warning on Avandia, even perhaps a black box warning, but GlaxoSmithKline says it doesn't think either a warning or a precaution is necessary.
There is a very significant weight of clinical evidence there that suggests there is no increased risk of Avandia versus other commonly prescribed medicines in the market today.
The American Diabetes Association, representing millions who have taken Avandia, urged the panel not to take it off the market. While the FDA panel agreed, it urged doctors to use caution in prescribing the drug.
Watchdog groups have targeted Avandia for over 3 years and have been critical of the FDA for not already putting warning labels on the drug, something European drug retailers have already done. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
Coming up next in sports, the Reds were wheeling and dealing and back to work for high school football teams around the Mountain State. Jim's in next with sports.
the summer.
Welcome back. Jim Morton joins us now. Jim, they practice in the heat, the rain, the snow, but today was the heat, right?
Exactly. You know, one of these, it's always when the high school football camp opens up, you can always depend on high humidity and high hopes. Both were in abundance today as camps open up in the Mountain State. Before you can play for a championship in November, December, you have to make a down payment in July and August, and high school football teams in West Virginia started paying the price for success with the first day of preseason camp. Parkersburg High began its two-a-day drills this morning on the turf at Stadium Stadium Field. Some 80 players went through their paces on a muggy July afternoon. Big Reds, the defending champions in Class AAA ball, and have to be favored to do it again with a boatload of talent coming back from last year's championship squad. But nothing is guaranteed. If the Big Reds are going to repeat, they know they will have to earn it, and the next 3 weeks will get them prepared for the title defense. It's hard work, but it never gets old for Big Red coach Bertie Buttry.
You know, it's 30 years I've been doing this, and every first day is exciting. We're excited to be here. We're excited about our football team. Got a lot of great expectations. You know, it's just a matter of whether we can live up to it or not.
Across town, some new faces and new attitudes were on display at Parkersburg South as they opened up their practice for the first time this season. Patriots are under the direction of new coach John Bolin. He's been busy installing his system for success on the football field. Coach Bolin's desire to succeed is contagious. The players sporting T-shirts that say, "We will either find a way or make one." The success of any football team rests with its players, and Coach Bolin is impressed with his group of kids.
Kids are looking good and having a lot of fun. We get a lot of young kids. A lot of new faces, and the coaching staff has worked extremely hard, so we're real happy and excited about what's going on.
Now the teams will put on the pads later on this week and have full contact next week. Tomorrow in the Ohio High School football previews, or in our football previews, we'll look at Williamstown and Parkersburg Catholic, and the Ohio High School teams will get in on the fun later on this week. Diagramming plays and winning football games was a way of life for Coach Bill Walsh, and his former players and coaches on the college and pro level are mourning his passing tonight. Walsh died from leukemia today at the age of 75. Walsh learned the ropes of coaching in the NFL as an assistant under the legendary Paul Brown. He would make a name for himself with the San Francisco 49ers in the 80s. He came up with the West Coast offense that revolutionized the way the game was played. And with quarterbacks Joe Montana and Steve Young, Walsh was able to win 3 Super Bowl titles with the Niners. He later moved on to the Niners front office, but returned to coaching on the college level at Stanford University. Walsh was twice named as the NFL Coach of the Year, and his career was capped off when he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now on to baseball, where the Cincinnati Reds are borrowing the state of West Virginia's new slogan, "Open for Business." Today, the Reds made what the first could be the first of several deals before tomorrow's trading deadline. Reds have dealt starting pitcher Kyle Loesch to the Philadelphia Phillies. In return, the Reds will get Class AA pitching prospect Matt Maloney. Loesch is an 8-year veteran, and the Reds may have been willing to part with him because he's a free agent at the end of the season. Loesch has a 6-12 record this year with an earned run average of 4.58. He's had some good outings this season, but he's been inconsistent. Phillies looking to shore up their starting pitching as they try to catch up with the New York Mets in the National League East Division race. Today's the quietest day of the baseball schedule since the All-Star break. Only 5 games on the schedule. Indians, Pirates, and Reds were all off, but there was a good matchup on the National League. The Chicago Cubs hosting the Philadelphia Phillies. A matchup of 2 teams trying to play catch-up in their divisions. Phillies have 2 men on in the 3rd inning, and Aaron Rowan's at the plate. He jumps on this Ted Lilly pitch, sends it out for a 3-run homer to center field, and the Phillies are on their way. Coming up next in the 5th inning, Tahito Iguchi comes up with the big hit himself. He gets in on the act as he drives his pitch long and gone for a solo homer. It's a 4-1 game, and that would make a winner out of Cole Hamels. He pitched 8 strong innings. His only mistake was serving up this solo shot to Terrio, and the Phillies cool off the Cubbies by the score of 4-1. The landscape of the NFL was about to change, or should the NBA is about to change. One of the game's new superstars is getting a new address. The Associated Press is reporting that Kevin Garnett will be the newest member of the Boston Celtics. Celtics are acquiring the former MVP in a multi-layer deal involving both players and draft choices. Garnett's been a fixture on the NBA All-Star team since he entered the league. The power forward is averaging a double-double for his career. On average, he's scoring better than 20 points a game, and he's pulling down nearly 12 rebounds a game. Remember Tim Couch? He was the former superstar in training for the Cleveland Browns. We now has a new job. He's a backup quarterback with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. Thank you, Jim. We'll be right back.
Mullen Motors Dodge Truck City has big news. Not only can you take advantage of the Zero Plus sales event, but you can receive $10,000 off an 07 Dodge Ram 1500 Quad Cab. But hurry, this deal only applies on in-stock Ram 1500 Quad Cabs. We're your Dodge authority with 2 big ways to save. $10,000 off in-stock 07 Ram 1500 Quad Cabs or the Zero Plus sales event going on right now at Mullen Motors. Stop in today or log on to MullenMotorsDodge.com.
Mullen Motors Dodge Truck City, your truck authority.
Look. If you know of good news, if you see news happening, or if you capture a local news story on your home video camera, call our newsroom at 485-NEWS. That's 485-6397.
Finally tonight, here's a story that proves a young entrepreneurial spirit can pay off. A Colorado boy trying to raise money for a medical assistance dog for his brother reached his goal. Tarhonda Thomas talked with the little businessman.
Lemonade and snacks down this road.
An ear-catching advertisement
Lemonade and snacks down this road.
to point passers-by
Lemonade and snacks down this road.
to an eye-catching sale
Oh, it looks like we got some more lemonade coming.
and an impressive little boy.
I should sign people's autograph books.
12-year-old Mark Wrinkle runs this lemonade stand,
I'm so glad it didn't rain.
but his 9-year-old brother Jason is the inspiration behind it.
My brother recently was discovered that he has type 1 diabetes.
The family wants to get a medical assistance dog that can smell blood sugar levels and help give peace of mind.
Let's say Jason went low in the middle of the night and we don't have the dog. He might not wake up in the morning.
So Mark sells lemonade to help pay for his brother's very expensive dog.
$6,000.
He's getting lots of thirsty customers
We should have a lemonade stand sound.
and publicity
I'm going to be on the radio.
and donations.
A lot of people have checks because checks are easier to put more money on.
As they donate, lots of people ask about Mark's brother. He was at the sale but had to leave because his blood sugar levels dropped.
He's quite a trooper.
But even without his brother here, Mark's lemonade stand is a success.
You know, my guess for this stand is going to be $3,000.
And with a packed schedule,
I have to have a cell phone when I'm out here alone.
12-year-old has no plans to stop peddling his punch.
Bye. Thank you.
Mark raised $6,000, the total cost of the dog. And finally tonight, Shanasty's going to take one last look at your weather. Shanasty?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's really cooled off too much yet, but tonight mostly clear, low of 66 degrees. Tomorrow mostly sunny and hot, 90 degrees, and we're going to see 90s for the whole week, so definitely need to beat the heat. Stay hydrated.
Maybe we can go out and start our own lemonade stand and we can make that kind of money.
Maybe. I don't know if people would buy from us, but okay.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
You're watching NBC, America's late